Hey guys, what's up? My name is Shezi, and this is my amazing friend Travis.
Hello. I'm happy to be in Chezi's presence in divinity in full expression.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Travis is a lovely person too. He's an
Thank-
amazing content creator.
Thank you.
He's an amazing vibe and
Thank
just
you.
almost like a spiritual guru out in the world.
Thank you. I realize that I feel like guru is a term that I've learned that being your own guru is something that is more should be more inward. I feel like guru is a place where you can only teach yourself. You can always get reflections that pinpoint the information that you already know for yourself, but you can never really be just like a guru, but you can only be your own. And
Yeah.
just like a teacher. But thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no, but like you definitely look within yourself is the most important thing. But I feel like especially with you, like you just radiate such a high energy that like people might like take a look at their lives. You know, it's kind of like shockwave. It's like a reality shock. It's
Thank
like
you.
whoa, and it's just like you recalibrate when you're around someone like that.
And thank you, because I do feel it, because I have so many beautiful divine reflections, including you, that do necessarily, when you look at different parts of your own embodiment, that you see a lot of yourself, in that it lets you spark and lets you have like a good understanding. It's like, I didn't notice a little bit of me there, but then now with being with all these other different beings, all these different divine souls and perspectives, you get to even enhance and even evolve yourself. You know, it's kind of like empowering other beings because they're you basically feeds back to the hive. It basically
Yeah.
feeds back to the whole collective, and it gets all the shit right. So I feel like it gets it right and tight. So I
Yeah.
personally feel like that's always what gets it into that full perspective. But thank you, Shezi. Thank you.
Yeah, but yeah. So you ready to get into this?
Yes,
All right.
I'm ready.
Today's topic is going to be the ego trap, turning tools into ideologies. So,
Yes.
what do you think that means?
I personally wouldn't, even in this necessary, we were talking through voice memo about this earlier today. I personally feel that it means to detach from belief systems, detach from necessarily the things that we hold so dear into us, our preferences, our beliefs, all these things that necessarily have built us up in personality over time, to think that they were confined or crucial or defined within who we are and what we should believe, and not necessarily let it be as fluid as in knowledge and as wisdom as everything else, but we hold so deeply into these crucial key things, these key roles, these key necessarily new like narratives of life that that bounds us to not fully getting the bigger picture of first who we are, what we are, and how we should be, even in our own essence and energy. That's how I see. That's how I
Yeah.
see.
So would you say that it's a lot of people hold themselves back from not keeping an open mind, or maybe like stopping themselves from learning because they think they already know?
I think that is true. I think that is sometimes, not everyone. I feel that is a collective, not ignorance, but naive of what we actually can do. Even the most aware beings, and I consider myself aware, still has a lot of stuff that we do not know. A lot of stuff that we are truly off
Yeah. I mean, like that's like one of the biggest traps. Even if you're like a very spiritual person, I see this a lot when people come into the realm of spirituality, whether they're just sort of like super scientific or super religious. They're like, oh, like I've unshackled myself, like I understand now, and then they learn about like maybe like chakras and third eyes, and they're like, oh wow, like I'm super powerful now. They like
understand.
it's again like I think in spirituality, even more than like other religion or science, there's even more ego traps that you got to like be aware of, you know?
Exactly. And I feel like it comes to a place where I don't even like to consider myself as spiritual. I consider myself more as like everything and nothing. Just like
That's beautiful.
a void
Yeah.
spectrum. It's just like, I feel like a lot of divine beings I know consider themselves as everything and nothing, because it's just like, I feel like spiritualities can be so constricting, as much as Christianity, religion, Buddhism,
It's
everything.
crazy, you know, like all these people where there's a movement in the world where all these people are coming into spirituality. It's almost becoming like the idea of saying the word spirituality itself is almost kind of like there's like an ideology behind it, and people have like see someone, they like see like an image in their head of what they expect
What is a spiritual person
to be.
walking through with like Lulu, or what is it, Lululemon, or what is it? It's like what is that? The type of drape wear, but more yogi style, just like namaste, I'm here, I'm spiritual, constant, just not saying it's anything wrong, good, or indifferent with anything. It's perfect and divine, exactly placed. But I do feel that it is a move. Not, I don't think it's as much as, I feel like it will be broken, but it is a certain type of swirling vortexual energy towards that type of identification of what is a divine being, what is spiritual. Yeah,
Something you can't define. You can't define it.
You
really.
can't define none of it.
You can't really define it.
And it's a thing where if you can't define any of it, how do you know what it looks like? And I think that goes into the whole premise of everything. We don't know exactly what we're turning into until we get to a point of full acceptance of what we're not. And I think that if you know what you're not, you're more open to know what you are and know what you're going to lead to be. Because I think that's the same thing what happens in change and uncertainty. It's all about understanding where does that not, you know exactly what is and what isn't for you, but as you move along through life, you understand get more of a touch and more of a grasp of it, you know?
So you'd say it's kind of like everyone has a journey and they just have to go through the journey. Like you can't be mad at other people for going through a certain journey or not thinking your way, because everyone is different. Everyone is going through their own way. And I think that's what we get caught up in with like Christianity and Islam and like Republican and Democrat, and whether you're like woo-wee spiritual or you're scientific and you're like listen to logic and the facts and what it is like. There needs to be more acceptance and love amongst each other, and whatever, helps us understand life and be happy and be satisfied,
Yet less divide, more unity. And I feel like unification will get you there if you allow it to be. And I think that when I said we or you, I mean all of us collectively. And I think that, as the wind, as the divine energy just flushed through, like Pocahontas. But but definitely our energy swirling within the collective right now. But I do feel that it all comes to a premise of saying, are you open? Are you fully accepting of what can be without holding so much into what was, and how good it did feel, how good it didn't, or what if it didn't feel any good, or if it made you feel comfortable, or would necessarily was out of your comfort zone or in your comfort zone. How much are you fully willing, but also free to be into the unknown, like really the void space.
I think a lot of people are pretty afraid of that, being in the unknown. It's like, especially, I feel like with science too, it's just people want facts. They want everything to be laid out in facts. And the thing is, even with science, as amazing of a tool it is, I feel like it just so far from ever really trying to figure out what consciousness is. And even if you ground yourself in that, you still won't know.
You miss a piece. You miss a bunch of pieces. You miss the whole, basically you're just like this little puzzle of this whole infinite like puzzle piece. And I think that as science, it's fun. Science is something that will always necessarily nestle the mind into what can be achieved, what can be
definitely. It's an essential part of our existence.
Yeah, an evolution within ourselves. But I do feel that as we go through a process of evolution, that we can pit more into the co-creation of society. The more arts, the more freedom, the more understanding the right hemisphere of the brain and left, combining it all, making it more between logic and creation, and making this beautiful quintessence of what it is, It's kind of doesn't necessarily having usually just the whole brain, not in the whole energy moving it forward, because I feel like we have, even within consciousness and even as humanity, we have so many beautiful divine beings on this earth. And I think that we all need to learn what we are to really necessarily cultivate it and give it back to each other. as like a good team effort to really just raise us up and make us feel united and loved, seen, valued, and kind of like inspired. I think inspiration comes from necessarily allowing yourself to
Finding your passions.
exactly finding your passions. And I feel like passion even goes deeper into what you were literally here to do. You have a mission, you have, or whatever you want to call it. You necessarily look beyond this lifetime. You live so many to line up to this one. What are you exactly here to do in this lifetime? Understand it in the full spectrum. Have fun with it.
Have fun with it. Life is like, it's like, we're gods. We can manifest in this life, but at the same time, don't take it too seriously, because at the same time, we're just a speck of fucking dust
Exactly.
on a speck of dust.
But divinely just vibrating into this existence. And I feel like it just only goes into the matter of, literally matter, just like of what, it's like, again, what we are. And I just do feel that as we don't take life too seriously, as we don't see life as this rigid and workforce type of thing. Of course, one of my beautiful divine reflections for it, just like has always said, not work but play, and it necessarily changed my perspective of how I see things in the world. I'm playing, I'm experiencing, I'm enjoying my life. It's just like it's a full type of it's like adventure. It's an adventure.
It's a video game.
It's a video game, and we're playing it all. All the different, like, it's kind of like the movie Ready Player One. If you've seen that,
I need to watch that. Someone else was talking about it yesterday.
It's a really good movie, and it's really helps to ruffle the imagination and the necessarily the some part of the cortex of the brain to understand how you can really place that same type of understanding of how you can just pop in and pop back out and just choose whatever your character is. It's not that serious, just enjoy it. But I do think that ego is a big part of how we are necessarily learning how to alchemize it, to know what do you really want to have, what do you really want to experience, and how can you let some things go. And I think that's the true meaning of what ego's here to do. It's kind of like, is that what you think for it?
Yeah, I mean, what would you say, how do we break out of these ideologies and continue to grow? I mean, I think off the bat, traveling is a great way. Traveling, seeing the world, and talk to someone who doesn't look like you, ask their story, you know, really get to know someone, because people aren't as different as they make themselves out to be. I mean, we are very different. People, there's so many different people that feel so many different things and are so many different ways, but at the same time, like, we're all in this together, you know? And
it's kind of, you feel, it's not necessarily like you feel the same, but it's the sameness where you can see yourself in everyone. And I've been seeing life as what is it? Like lovers. See life as a loving feeling. Like, it doesn't have to be as lovers as twisted within
celebration of life.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like lovers and love is necessarily twisted in always romanticism, but it's meaning, in the sense, having a love for another being. And and if you want to take into that idea of romanticism, treat every single person how you would treat a lover. How attentive, how loving, how being, especially, of course, it's mutual, energy and energy, divine respect, but how would you necessarily treat a divine lover, and put that towards every single person, your family, your friends, anything, a stranger, and you will have this type of energy of non-judgment, unconditional love, and just understanding and patience. And even if you have to work on all those stuff, and it's all those type of things, but you carry those things because you see how their presence is so beautiful, so rare and divine, that you just allow yourself to give them the full acknowledgement and the full respect that they deserve. And I think that that's what we have to, we're so, not saying that we're so ready to, but it's a energy that's flowing through our collective consciousness that we're alchemizing, now we're transcending, that is so ready to not see someone fully before we want to make a full understanding of them. We want to see only half of the story. We only want to see half of them, not how they got there.
Yeah.
And I think that if we learn how they actually got there, if we learn how things are going into a perspective, how things are flowing and moving. And I remember It was like, remember when I was a kid, I always used to have this idea, or at least as even teenager, looking at the devil and looking at Hitler and all these other things, and I'm just like, huh. It must have felt really, really awful to be kicked out of heaven. Or it's like, huh. Learning Hitler's story is like, it must have been really, really sad to see your mother murdered as a kid, and it's like, that created and caressed this trauma with not knowing the tools how to get to that place of feeling free, love, and knowing how to release all that has created a perpetual trajectory towards fueling your fears and fueling your worries and fueling your sadness. It was like, wow, that must have been hard for that 6-year-old, 4-year-old kid right there.
Yeah.
It was like, but we missed that part.
Yeah.
We missed it. Like, yes, everyone has free will, everyone can choose, but I definitely do feel that we must understand and have compassion of why this ended up that way, and how we could have all necessarily had the tools to even give love to those beings, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's even in a sense now of, do that to the person that triggers you, you know? Trigger could be anger, sadness, what could be envy, it could be growth. People can trigger your growth and inspiration, but look into that triggers of the things that are a little bit lower vibration, and ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Why is that triggering me? What in myself that's not feeling ignited and filled up or celebrated within myself that's triggering me? And I, as well as feeling is saying that, what am I not choosing to understand about myself that I'm not willing to understand about that person? So instantly go into kind of coping mechanism to detach, to single out, to be like ignore, or to lash out and react, other than respond from full understanding and awareness. But yes, go on. What do you feel about what has necessarily triggered you into? And I may gonna answer the question too, but may have triggered you thus far in your journey of understanding ego that has necessarily brought you to where you are now.
I've been through a lot of different stages. I went through the religious stage. My parents sent me to live overseas with my grandparents in Pakistan for a year.
I did not know that.
7th grade.
Wow.
Yeah. I became super religious. Went through that. I came back. I went through like an extremely scientific phase where I was like condemning religion. I was like, fuck God, this and that.
Yeah.
Sorry, first curse word in the whole video. But yeah, and then I went through a very like spiritual, like, oh, there's more than science. It's a spiritual stage, and then it's everything. And there's so many traps in that. Like when I first learned about the third eye, I was like, all right, like I know the cheat codes now. Like I'm gonna get the heads up. Like I'm gonna open my third eye or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you get past that too, you notice that like there's loving, kind, amazing people at every single stage, and like it's really just like the journey that I went through. Everyone needs to go through this journey, and you can't judge people for going through this journey, whether they're at the very beginning or at the very end, whether they're like someone who like is like Hitler or Trump or whatever.
Yes.
Like
perfect example, Trump. Yeah, that's but go on. Yeah,
and just like like Trump supporters sometimes make me cringe a little bit, but like at the same time, no, that's not the point. And like I had a friend who said that we should just go out and kill and annihilate all like the racists and the Trump lovers and stuff. And it's like, like we could, but how do you even define what it makes a person racist, and who is the person to judge that? And you're fucking Hitler too, if you do that.
And it's the type of thing. It's the reflection of each other, of saying that the same energy that you don't like that they're giving out, you're willing to do to that being.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so what does that
an eye for an eye.
It's like truly an eye for an eye. And it's just like, so both of you guys are just ending in your own energetic trauma, energetic cycle of not helping the situation. It's just like, are you helping yourself, what does it do to change that? Because now you're left after killing these people. No judgment here. It's just understanding and oversight and observation of saying, once you kill these people, now you're one of the killers that are still.
Yeah.
So it's just like, does someone kill you to end the cycle? And it's just
and
like,
there's nothing great about everyone being the same. Like, there's people that are different. That's life. That's part of
it's
life.
beautiful.
So-
And I think that's how we get perspective. That's how we learn from each other. If we were all the same, it would be very boring, and I would want to just kick the bucket and leave this planet. But it's like, but I feel like this is the beautiful reason of why we're naturally meant to be here. We're
Yeah.
meant to see our beautifulness within every single being, but also appreciate it, but to at the same time see it within ourselves, and to be like, wow, I'm you. I'm
Yeah.
you. I'm you. I'm
And
you.
you know, that's like, you can't ever force anyone to do that work. That work really has to come from within them. And like within me, you know,
Yeah.
I've come so far and I've still so much farther to go. You know, it just never ends, and you can never stop working on yourself, or you will like go backwards.
Or it's backwards or stagnation.
Stagnation.
And I feel like stagnation is inevitable, because life will shift itself
Yeah, you
towards its
plateau.
plane. It's like it will shift the, like, don't you know in Hogwarts where they shift the staircases?
Yeah.
It will shift you to make you fully be like, let's change, let's evolve. Here's a choice. You don't have to, because it's free will. You can do whatever you want. You will just have to have some more things stacked up for you in the next life. But again, enjoy it, live. It's no wrong or right choice.
Yeah.
It's just whatever you feel like. I know this may get, I'm not saying that it may get, but it has different perspectives, that whatever you feel like doing. But it's truly whatever you feel like doing, but it's so many subcategories and so many highlights around that own aura of what that message is, because it's about doing it with awareness and doing that with love. And I think that that's when it's beautiful, that's when it's intentional, that's when it's more strategic of how it does things, instead of I want to do everything anything and everything, but for not the awareness of how it can affect another, how your energy will be impacted into someone else's realm. How can you be very strategic of controlling, not even saying controlling, being aware of your energy, so it does not want to kind of hover over someone else's to find its own meaning, perspective, and to take over.
It's also like control. We're just trying to control like one another, and like being like,
can't
you should
control.
think like that. And that's the thing. That's like the greatest illusion is control. You can react, you can control it to some extent, but really, like, this life is not yours. This world is not yours for your judgment.
You're here and then you're not.
Yeah.
And then you'll be reincarnated or
and you're
whatever
not.
you are, and you'll just pop back in. You're just temporary but infinite. What is it? Just kind of like a beautiful, what's the right word? Existence in a long going story. And I feel like it's like we are existent, then we exist in something else, existing within energy, existing within the water, existing with the air, the grass, trees, and we're everywhere. And it's the type of thing that is probably even part of our lifetimes that we're paralleled into some other lifetime. But I do feel that it's also all about just not feeling like you said, not controlling everything, but knowing when to let go.
Yeah, that's the important one.
Knowing when to feel release.
Yeah,
and
surrender.
Surrender.
When to surrender.
Surrender. Yes, I got a beautiful message from one of my other Divine Reflections when she was saying, sent me a passage that I needed exactly on that day, exactly at that moment at night, and of just saying what she was reading, because I impacted her energy in a great way. We were saying that, are you willing to surrender to the infinite knowledge that you hold within yourself? And I was like, And I was practicing the Hierophant and the Lover's card as well. And so it was more in the sense the Hierophant brings in divine knowledge of the wisdom, but also keeping your practical feet on the ground, but knowing why you're supposed to be here in this experience. But also the Lovers brings in the unification, the knowing that we also are here, but divinely looking into more subconscious understanding of what we're here to do and who we are, but with unification and just how we deal within our relationships. And I just feel like that's just the nestled of how we are so bound to reinvent ourselves And as much as possible. I am reinventing myself
Every day.
second by second, not even day, millisecond.
That's good.
It's just like of shifting the consciousness. And I feel like a lot of other divine beings may be doing that, but are not aware that they're doing that too. It's like
Yeah.
every single time you choose to do something differently, see something differently, create a new perspective for yourself and say, hey, I'm not going to entertain that anymore.
Yeah.
That's you reinventing yourself, even in the most smallest times.
Yeah.
But just saying, hey, I'm going to, instead of reacting in that way, I'm going to give a little bit more love this way, more
Yeah.
understanding, more perspective. But that's how I see it. That's how I
Yeah.
truly see it. It's just like anything that you would like to add to the beautiful beings in divinity.
No, I think you got it pretty well. It got pretty dark too.
Yeah. I'm the void. I'm
Yeah,
non-existent.
I am the void too.
Literally no.
We're not in this video
They're not
anymore.
I faded in. Especially if I go like this. I'm not here. It's truly non-existent. It's like, but yes, that all the energy is sending love to every single divine being that is watching this, that will be watching this, that will have a message that will resonate to some part of their divinity now or whenever, because time doesn't exist. Time's bullshit. So,
Yeah.
but it's love. It's like so.
Well, if anyone wants to add on to their journey too, please comment and add on to our conversation as well, please.
Yes,
And yeah,
and give love. That's all. And don't judge yourself. Don't judge others. But be patient with your process. Love your process, and just
love your journey. Enjoy
Yes.
every second.
and know who you are. The more you know who you are, the more you get to have a curiosity to know who everyone else is with love. So I love that.
All right.
So bye.
Bye, guys.
Divine,
All right.
divine.